Yes, what's happening, people? And welcome back to GavGoesIn. Guys, I have to say, I am absolutely fucking fuming. I am fed up of this club, this Manchester United club. I would, yeah, I'm just fed up, guys. Where to start with this? Obviously, you guys can see in the thumbnail, Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho. I mean, we will get onto Jadon Sancho after. Obviously, news breaking. Obviously, people must have seen it by now that Bruno Fernandes has rejected Al Hilal's offer, and Jadon Sancho is returning back to Manchester United as he can't agree on a contract to stay at the club. So Chelsea will activate the 5 million clause to send him back to Manchester United. And again, there's conflicting things for me, really. So I'm gonna get into it, guys, because as you can see, I'm just well and truly pissed off with this club, man. This club is an absolute joke, and this club ain't serious. This club is not serious. Absolutely not serious. So let's touch on the Bruno Fernandes, obviously, news that's come out. So Bruno's obviously wants to stay at Manchester United. He wants to stay in Europe, and has rejected £700,000 a week, which is 65 million a year, to stay at Manchester United, a Manchester United team that finished in the bottom half of the table. One of the worst seasons that's ever happened to the club. And you'd think that, United will be getting £100 million offer from Al Hilal. You think that, you know what, sell Bruno, regardless of what people say about his numbers, but you're thinking, sell Bruno, get the money in, and then the team can be reinvested in, And for me, I think, what the most important thing is for me? Big up to Barbara Joseph for coming on. The most important thing for me, guys, is that ever since, for me, Louis van Gaal was sacked, and then Mourinho came in, and then you had Solskjaer, and then Rangnick for a bit, and then Ten Hag, and now Amorim. I could honestly say, even after this season, which was an absolute shambles to start with anyway, I could honestly say that, I was starting to think, do you know what? This season, I can be a bit more invested in Man United. Big up Daniela as well for coming on. Daniela Iacona, big up for coming on. I was thinking to myself, I can be a bit more invested in Man United and start to see this club, finally getting back to where it was in terms of the outgoings, in terms of the signings that are reported to be coming in as well. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to be a bit more positive for this season, because even though, let's say, last season was an absolute disaster, I think I could honestly say that, the club looked like they had, just getting back to better times, And I have to say, guys, I'm well and truly fed up now of this club, because I cannot believe that, for one, Bruno Fernandes is now looking like he's staying. And the thing is, I don't blame Bruno Fernandes, because for me, in the sense of the money that was on offer, it was a no-brainer for me. But I actually blame the club, because to think that Man United had their worst ever finish, And again, I said to myself, I'm not going to get onto the manager, because there's no point. The manager's clearly going to be staying, and it's just going to be wasted breath trying to convince myself that this manager's going to be going, because there's no one that can tell me that this manager deserves to still be here. He doesn't. Not after the season he's had, regardless of the players that people think he should have got. So I thought, you know what? Let me just park it with the manager and then see what happens with the players that need to go and the players that come in. So I'm looking at it. Matthias Cunha, again, we all knew Cunha was coming in, and I was satisfied with the acquisition of Cunha, because Cunha is Premier League proven. he was someone that was destined to go to a bigger club. And, I thought to myself, you know what? Yeah, Cunha's the start of things to happen. As you guys saw yesterday on my stream, could Cunha start a new era at Man United? To think now, that this club didn't force Bruno Fernandes to go because the financial constraints that this club is in, 100 million for Bruno, which would allow you to at least bring in, 3 to 4 players in addition to Cunha. And Bruno Fernandes has rejected Al Hilal. And I blame the club because the club should have made it obvious to Bruno that we need you to take this deal for the betterment of the future of the club. And not only just that, you're going to be getting a 31-year-old out of the club for 100 million that you can reinvest into the squad. And this club ain't serious. Ineos are not serious. Jim Ratcliffe is not serious. A lot of this fan base are not fucking serious because I'm still seeing people saying they're glad Bruno's still here. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never seen a club so invested in one fucking player. It just doesn't make any sense, And I'm having to watch this fucking Gary Neville on the TV as well, And I've got it on mute because I can't listen to these kind of people, Gary Neville is part of the problem because Gary Neville's trying to say now that Bruno Fernandes is going to endear himself now to the Man United fan base. This club don't want to get better. They don't want to get better. I've never seen one player in my life that is so much protected like Bruno Fernandes is. Big up to Reluctant Killer. The guy is so protected, and again, I'm seeing pundits, I'm seeing fans, I'm seeing journalists that are just talking so much shit about this player, saying that Bruno Fernandes has been the savior. Guys, I'll tell you again. I've watched Man United the whole season, and I don't give a shit about numbers. I don't give a shit about what people want to say. Bruno Fernandes hasn't been good this season. And I'll argue that with anyone. I don't care what the numbers say. There's a reason why Bruno gets the numbers. There's an actual reason why he gets that. If no one's figured out why he's getting these numbers, then I suggest you just take a deep look into what's going on at Man United, And I'll remind you, the guy's on every corner, every free kick, every penalty. He does what he wants. He plays every game. He's the captain. He has the freedom of Old Trafford to do whatever he wants. So when people are trying to tell you that he's been United's best player by an absolute mile, he hasn't. In terms of numbers, yes, you can say that. I've watched every single performance from Bruno Fernandes this season, and he hasn't been good. The last few games of the season, he was getting a few numbers. And I remember vividly saying, guys, and again, if you've been watching my channel for any while, you know where I'm going with this. I said after Bruno Fernandes scored the hat-trick against a 10-man Real Sociedad, big up to Broderick. After he scored the hat-trick against Real Sociedad, I said, guys, let's not get carried away because I was hearing people say he's the best attacking midfielder in the world. He's the best signing since Cantona. He's Man United's best player over the last, 7-8 years or whatever it is. I was hearing so much prop for Bruno Fernandes, and I just said, let's keep it into perspective. He's playing against 10 men, and he's got a hat-trick. I said there's 9 games to the end of the season. Let's see what Bruno does. I believe in those 9 games, his performances were poor. The final was evidence of that. And I think he might have scored a couple of goals and got a couple of assists, But to think that Al Hilal have come in with 100 million bid, and let's get it right, guys. Bruno's turned this down. Obviously, he says he wants to stay in Europe, but the club have not forced the issue in getting this player out. And to be honest with you, I blame the club because I don't know where this club wants to go, if I'm honest. I don't know where they want to go. Because for me, how the hell this guy hasn't gone to Al Hilal with the money that's on offer? And yeah, people are going to start saying they commend Bruno because He's looking at the bigger picture. His love for Man United and all this other fucking nonsense. Who cares about all that? Who cares about all that? At the end of the day, if Bruno loved Man United and he's seen that the state that the club is in, he would have thought to himself, you know what? Let me take this money. It's life-changing money. And the club can reinvest in my position. And hopefully the club can go forward. Bruno hasn't done that. Bruno stayed for his own gains, let's be honest. So a lot of these fans that are saying Bruno loves the club, forget all that nonsense. He don't love the club. If he loved the club, he would have gone. Because everything was in position for him to go. And the problem is now, we've now got to deal with, because I could have parked it with Ruben Amorim. Because my opinion is, Amorim's not good enough. And if you're getting better players in, we'll have to see what he's going to do. But there's no way that Amorim should have taken charge this season. Because the campaign that he came into, he's been a disaster. So the thing is now, I thought, let me park it with Amorim and see what's going to happen. You know, I was saying if they can get the likes of Bruno out, Garnacho, Højlund, Mount on loan, because obviously it's going to be hard to get rid of his wages. Luke Shaw, get rid of him. Plus the free transfers that are going. I was like, do you know what? United could be onto something here. You know? And to be honest with you, this club is just not serious. They're not serious when things need to be done. They're not serious. Like, it's an absolute joke, this club. Absolute joke. To think that this club has fallen that much, and you had a player there, and again, guys, Bruno hasn't gone because he's not been forced. That's the problem. If Ineos Ratcliffe made it obvious to Bruno, look, we need to move you on, and Bruno felt that he loved the club, whatever, but he was being forced out, then he would have gone. But this club has failed yet again. And when I'm hearing about Bryan Mbeumo and I'm hearing about all this other nonsense that United want to put 60 million together for Bryan Mbeumo, how the fuck are United going to get their money together for Bryan Mbeumo? Because I would love to know this now. Because United need to get 2 midfielders. I wanted Carlos Baleba. I wanted Ederson. Obviously, Wharton for me was a bit of a difficult deal to do. But there's other players out there. You know, striker, another 10. How the fuck are Man United going to do this now? That's what I want to know. Because I've never seen anything like this. And guys, I don't want to swear, but you know what? This club just makes me angry. Because they should have forced Bruno out the door. He's going to turn 31 next season. You know? And to make matters worse, guys, as well, is that Bruno now, not Bruno, Al Hilal now are being linked to Ederson. So this is what I mean. You've got a player that doesn't suit this system, and this manager is going to shoehorn this player now. And guys, the problem is now, is that Cunha's come in, which means Bruno, you would think Bruno now is not going to play as a left 10 anymore, in this system. So the only place Bruno's going to play now is central midfield. But as we know, he's just been shoehorned into this team because this manager has an obsession with Bruno Fernandes. So now, not only are we going to lose out on 100 million for getting a replacement for Bruno Fernandes, you've got Al Hilal now trying to get Ederson. In the meantime, we're watching Man City go for Reinders, Ryan Cherky, Ryan Ait-Nouri. Liverpool on the verge of trying to get Florian Wirtz, getting Frimpong in, and looking at Kirkes and possibly a striker. Chelsea just taking Liam Delap from under United's noses. Now they obviously want to send back Sancho, and I'll get into the Sancho one in a bit. They're looking at revamping their attacking line. You know, they want to look at another striker, maybe Ekatike. You know, they're linked with Bino Gittins. They got William Esteval coming in. I'm looking at those 3 teams in particular because they are the standard for what Man United need to get back to. Those 3 teams are going in for those sort of players, and Man United are hanging on to a Bruno Fernandes who's going to be turning 31, who doesn't suit this system, is going to be under a manager that shouldn't even fucking be there in the first place. And we're meant to just be satisfied with this season. At this moment in time, I don't even give a shit about some of the players coming in now. Because I'm looking at this team now, and what's going to change, really? What's going to change? You know, what's going to change? It's going to be the same old nonsense. Bruno shoehorned into this team. Why? You had £100 million on the table for Bruno Fernandes, and you don't take up the option to get rid of this guy. It doesn't make any sense to me. It don't make any sense. Any logical person can't tell me that this is a good deal for the club to keep Bruno Fernandes. Because, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me, you know, and I'm just fed up. I'm absolutely fed up. And I came into this season, you know, again, as we know, it's going to be a quick turnaround, but I was more positive, you know, with the likes of Cunha coming in, the links to Mbeumo. Again, we're hearing that United, regardless of Bruno Fernandes staying, Mbeumo is looking likely to come. And Mbeumo wants to come to the club, you know. But please tell me, guys, and I want someone to tell me in the chat, how the hell is Mbeumo going to come in with what's reported United don't have any money? You know, there's still no players going at the club. It's what I'm trying to say to you. There's still no players going at the club. Højlund's still here. You know, Garnacho's still here. Mount's still here. Luke Shaw is still here. Like, this is an absolute fucking joke. Big up to Broderick. Guys, I will get back to your questions in a bit, but I have to vent, man, because I've been sitting on this for the past hour now, and I just can't understand how this Bruno Fernandes keeps escaping. He has to be, since he's come to the club, he has been the most fortunate player I've ever seen. And when you've got the likes of Gary Neville doing his prop for him as well, Gary Neville obviously has a massive reach to a lot of these people. And a lot of these people will just hang on Gary Neville's every word. Don't listen to Gary Neville. There's a reason why Gary Neville is in the is commentating. You know, he's a pundit because he's a failed manager. Don't listen to him saying that Bruno's gonna be adored by these fans now. Nah, not me. Not me. And not many that have a fucking brain as well, because there's no way this guy should be at the club still. You know? Man United have got rid of like the likes of Paul Pogba for a Bruno Fernandes. You know? And all people can come and tell me is that because of his numbers. This club's an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace why they want to hang their hat on Bruno Fernandes. And again, I don't blame Bruno too much because the club didn't make it obvious that this player needed to be moved on. The club didn't make it obvious. The club should have just said, look, Bruno, we need you to go. You know? And I'm pretty sure if the club said that, he would have been gone. But yet, you know, the club have failed yet again. Now, as I said, guys, if anyone's thinking that United are going to get 2 midfielders in because that's what they needed, how? Because Bruno's going to be one of those players in that midfield now. And you've still got the likes of Ugarte in there who ain't good enough, but is a squad player. Casemiro, what's going to happen to him? Could Casemiro now go because Bruno's staying? I don't think he will. But how are United going to improve on this midfield? That's what I'd like to know. Because how much money have United got? You know, I think there was rumoured to have, what, 125 million. Obviously, the sales, you know, there is rumours of players being moved on. But again, this club just moves so fucking slow anyway. You know, can I be certain that the likes of Garnacho and Højlund that will be moved on? How can you be certain? You know, how can you be certain? Because the club just don't do what's needed. I can guarantee you this for free. If this was a Man City, you know, a Liverpool, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, you know, PSG, any top club, they move this player on. They'll look at his age of 31 years of age, and they would see that they've got 100 million bid. And the funny thing is, Saudi probably would have paid more. They would have paid more. But all of a sudden now, Bruno doesn't want to go. And Bruno doesn't want to go because this club don't force him out the club. They don't force him out. So they've made it in a situation where Bruno's happy to be there. And why wouldn't you be? He's got a new contract. He's on 300 grand a week. Maybe slightly more. He's the captain. He's playing under his, he might just call him his best man or his best friend, Ruben Amorim. He gets to do whatever he wants. He plays week in, week out. Like, I've never seen a player that average being given this amount of license at a supposed big club. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in my life. You know, it's an absolute disgrace, this club. Disgrace. I despise this club right now because they just don't do what's needed. They just don't do what's needed. I've been venting for years about this club, you know, in terms of the players that are forced out of this club. The likes of Pogba, the likes of Fred, Eric Bailly when he was there. You know, Anthony Martial. Rashford's getting forced out now, even though Rashford should have gone years ago. The same players get forced out, you know, and we know why that is. I'm not going to get into that today, but we know why that is. But yet this fucking Bruno Fernandes survives yet again. Why does he keep surviving? Why is that? You know, there's no surprising that Bruno Fernandes, since he's come to the club have regressed. There's no surprising in that. People will look at his numbers and start telling you it isn't Bruno's fault. Bruno's contributed. He's contributed to the detriment of the team. Again, because all people want to tell you is, look at his numbers, look at this, look at that. But where was he in the final when United needed him? He was arguably one of the poorest players on the pitch, along with fucking Rasmus Højlund. But yet people want to keep defending this player. And I tell you what, guys, yeah, if anyhow this club, and I'm pretty sure they won't do this, you know, because I reckon there'll be uproar if it does happen. Anyhow, this club tried to offer Bruno Fernandes a pay increase to keep him at the club. I'm telling you this now, that will be an absolute disgrace. That will be a piss take to the fan base. If Bruno Fernandes was to be given another new contract to keep him at the club and so he doesn't go to Saudi. I don't think that's going to happen. But if that was to happen, I'm telling you this now, I don't know what I wouldn't know what to say. But again, I've never seen a player this hyped getting given so much license at a supposed big club. And again, I don't give a damn who wants to tell me otherwise, you know, because as I said, I watch football regularly, you know. I've watched United all season, and there's no one that can tell me that Bruno Fernandes has been good the whole season. He hasn't. You know what I mean? He's probably had about 2 months to the end of the season where he was getting numbers. But what people do is that they just conflate the numbers all together, and then they just make it seem as if Bruno's been the saviour for United. He hasn't been a saviour. And he gets numbers at the expense of the team. This is the problem. When you've got a manager that shoehorns him into every position, you know, and then Bruno just spams the ball into the box, as I said, takes every corner, free kick, penalties, you know, is there a surprise why this player gets so much numbers? But fans don't want to look at that because all fans want to do is just try and use numbers for Bruno to have arguments with other fans about how good they think this player is. You know what I mean? And someone like me, I can never be fooled. I've seen too much football over my years to know that this player is not the player that these fans think he is. You know what I mean? A lot of these fans don't know what they're watching for a start. A lot of these fans don't really get football. They'll just look at Bruno Fernandes and think, yep, Bruno another assist, yep, Bruno another goal, you know, chance created, all this nonsense, and think that he's good. And this is where football's gone now. You know, you're dealing with people that don't really understand the game. And for someone like me who just loves football and has watched football, has played football, has coached football for years, you know, I have to say, I'm falling out of love a lot with this game because this game ain't what I was brought up on, you know. And to think, going back to Bruno Fernandes, that this guy is still going to be at the club, still shoehorned into this team, is nothing short of a fucking disgrace. I'm telling you, it's an absolute disgrace. And now we've got to deal with this manager again. Now we've got to deal with Bruno Fernandes. And guys, forget about Man United getting a midfielder in. Forget about it, because if United get a midfielder in, you're probably looking at one, but they're still going to be shoehorned into the team with Bruno. Like, it's an absolute disgrace, man. It's an absolute disgrace. No one's watching football properly these days, you know. No one, and as Broderick says, fans ain't sitting down watching football. They're not. They're just listening to other fans chat rubbish and just thinking that these players are a lot better than what they are. That is the problem. That is an absolute problem. I cannot believe I'm going into this season again with Bruno Fernandes. I actually cannot believe it. You know, I was 98% certain he was going. Money too good to turn down. You know, the offer of 100 million. I mean, you're getting 100 million, and they could have got slightly more probably as well for Bruno Fernandes, and he's turned it down. But he's only turned it down because this club didn't do what was needed. They should have forced his ass out of the club. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They should have forced him out of the club. And why they didn't do that, I will never know. I will never know. But guys, that's the rant over about Bruno Fernandes. I'm well and truly pissed off, man. As you can tell, because as I said, this is probably the first season where I was probably thinking to myself, you know what? Finally, we're gonna see United get rid of the players that needed to get rid of, and finally we're gonna see some signings that can take us back to, you know, being respectable. But now we got to deal with fucking Bruno Fernandes staying at the club for another season. And the funny thing is, guys, as well, United are not ever gonna get this fee for Bruno again. This is the massive thing now. You had £100 million there for Bruno Fernandes, and you didn't force him at the club. And now this bid might not come back again. And to make matters worse, they're looking at Ederson, who's someone United are looking at. They're looking at Ederson now, guys. I'm not sure if you've seen the news, but Al Hilal are linked to Ederson. They're linked to Theo Hernandez, a player that Man United should be going for. Imagine you get rid of Bruno. Theo Hernandez is a ready-made left wing back in this system. Ederson, ready-made midfielder. But yet Bruno's going to stay, and you can forget about them deals now. I don't even know who Man United are going to get. I don't want to hear about Mbeumo. I'll be honest. Because as long as Bruno Fernandes is here, as I've been saying for years, this club ain't doing anything serious. They're not. You can bring in Mbeumo, you can bring in Cunha. But between the manager and Bruno, they're not good enough when it really matters. That's the facts. You know what I mean? And he's going to shoehorn Bruno into this team again. And we're going to have to watch this. So I'm not even too fussed about, I'll be honest, I'm not too fussed about who United sign now. They can go and sign Lamine Yamal, which obviously ain't going to happen. I ain't too fussed, because as long as this guy is here, there's a problem. Because he doesn't fit into this system, he doesn't fit in. He can't play left 10. He's not good enough in the tight spaces. He's not good in the half turn. And in the left 10 positions, you need to be good at isolations as well. Isolating your opponent, which he can't do. You know, he's not a conventional central midfield player in this system. In a 4-3-3, he can be a box-to-box midfielder. I hear it. But in this system as a 2, he ain't good enough when it really matters. Against the better teams, he ain't good enough. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. He ain't going to be good enough. I mean, yeah, he can sit in and start spraying balls and that nonsense. But on the whole, against the better teams, he'll get found out. He would. And the midfielder that plays next to him will see that. You know? So, yeah, I just can't believe... I can't believe he's staying, man. I'm absolutely shocked. Guys, let me know what you think about Bruno Fernandes. If you're shocked like me, because I was certain that he was going. And the fact that he's somehow managed to keep himself here, yeah, it's just unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, yeah, I'm well and truly fed up, as you can see, man. I just didn't see this coming. And as I said, I think when I done the stream, when I was on the way, I was driving today, you know, it didn't really hit me that this guy was staying. You know, I thought it was, yeah, I didn't think it was certain, put it that way. And to see now that he's staying at the club, I don't know where this club goes from here. I have to be honest. You know what I mean? It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace, man, this club. Yeah, but let me get through to some of your comments, guys. But big up for yourselves anyway, for coming through. So we're going to touch on Jadon Sancho in a bit as well. So Broderick, big up Broderick, says, let's see what Vivell and Wilcox cook up. Listen, Broderick, as I said, man, the very fact that this player's staying, I don't really give a shit what Vivell and Wilcox are trying to cook up now. I'll be honest, because I don't trust anything now. The fact that this player stayed, I don't trust Ineos now. Ineos, for me, I was optimistic with them. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really trust Ineos now because they've kept this manager even after the season that he's had, and they didn't force Bruno Fernandes at the club, and that is on Ineos because they could have forced this guy to leave. And the funny thing is, if that would have happened, I would have said to myself, do you know what? They mean business. These guys ain't serious. This club ain't serious. They're not serious. So if you're saying let's see what Vivell and Wilcox cook up, I'll be honest with you. I can't see what they're gonna do now. You know, I know fans will get excited if Mbeumo comes in, but I'll be honest with you, I won't be getting excited. I'll be like, yeah, Mbeumo's a very good player and good to get him in, but I just don't trust this club. I'll be honest with you, I don't trust it, man, because there's no way Bruno should have stayed. There's no way he should have stayed, and you have to look at Ineos for this. So as I said, man, I'm not too look, when I read this now, it just makes me angry. So Sky Sports News understands Bruno Fernandes does not want a move to Saudi at this stage of his career. But again, I'll tell you, if they would have forced him out, he wouldn't be coming out with this. And the funny thing is, they're saying he wants to stay in Europe. Guys, there is no other club that is going to come in for Bruno Fernandes. Saudi was the only option. And as I said, he's now rejected them. So just get ready for another season of Bruno Fernandes, you know? And people don't care about football now. They just care about the numbers that he's doing. Like that's all it's come down to. So yeah, man, I'm just well and truly fed up with this club now, man. So Broderick says the sooner you accept Bruno is never going to leave, and this is his team, the better. Don't fight it, just let it happen. Lol. Listen, I mean, I accepted that Bruno, you know, was a big part of the team in terms of how they've kind of packaged Bruno with this club. I accepted that long time ago. When you're letting the likes of Paul Pogba get abused the way he does and letting Paul Pogba go at the club in preference of Bruno Fernandes, that was the answer there and then. Yeah? But to think that United had a 100 million bid ready for Saudi and the money that was on offer to this player, the fact that he'd be turning 31, and let's remember, he's only going to regress, Bruno Fernandes, as well. Yeah? I thought to myself, you know, this could be the time. And look what's happened. Like, he's now staying under a manager that shouldn't be there in the first place. And now he's just going to be shoehorned into this team, into this midfield. Like, what is the point? Like, it's ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. But Broderick says, fans ain't sitting down to watch football. It's all highlights and memes. 100%. All football's become now is whose player is better than your player. And then what they'll do, rather than them just sit down and watch the game properly, what they'll just start telling you about numbers. That's all it's become now. The amount of people that I see talking about numbers is killed the game. You know? And I always bring up this example. Zinedine Zidane and Andres Iniesta, they were two of the best players of their generation. Arguably two of the best midfielders to ever play the game. Does anyone know how much goals these guys were averaging a season? The answer is no. And the answer is, you know, I don't know. They might be saying 15 probably. Wrong. These guys averaged 5 or 6 goals a season on average. But no one gave a shit because we just knew how good these two players were. We're now having to watch football now where people only care about numbers. It's a disgrace to the game, man. Absolute disgrace. And this is why Bruno just keeps getting away with it season after season. Because people don't give a shit about football no more. They don't give a shit about the intricacies of football. It's all about how many goals did he get? How many assists does he get? You know? And as I said, guys, I blame the pundits. I blame the media. I blame the likes of Gary Neville. You know, some of these ex-professionals as well. I blame a lot of them. The journalists, I blame all of them. Because what they do, they put out all this crap to people's screens, and people just believe it's rubbish. I'm telling you. Nonsense. Big up to DJ Sav. Big up, man. And Sav, I'm glad you just brought this up. Big up to Zero Requiem as well. Bruno the diseased tumor needed to go. I mean, I won't go that far with the diseased tumor, but I do know what you mean. And I'm glad you brought this up, DJ Sav J. So, Amarim does not want Bruno to leave, yeah? This is the problem. This is the absolute problem. This manager has failed since he came in, yeah? If I'm this manager, I should be counting my lucky stars that he's still in charge. Just to think that this manager has had the nerve to say he don't want Bruno to leave, he should just be keeping quiet and making sure that this team is ready for next season. Because at the end of the day, he should have no say, for me, on who comes in or who goes. Because he shouldn't even be there. But the fact that he's saying he doesn't want Bruno to leave, this is part of the problem. Because he shouldn't be there, Bruno shouldn't be there, and he's looking like Ineos are just listening to the manager. You know, club signings need to be brought in. You know, players need to go out for the betterment of the team. But yet we've got the manager staying, the captain staying. The whole thing's a shambles, an absolute shambles, man. And as I said, yeah, I'm well and truly just pissed off with this now, man. But I'm gonna park it now. Big up to DXR, man. Big up to DXR. But guys, if you haven't seen the start of the stream, obviously been going for 36 minutes. Yeah, Bruno. Just talking on Bruno Fernandes. This club is not serious. This club's an absolute disgrace. Guys, if it's your first time in there, you know, or if you haven't done so already, make sure you smash that like button. Let's at least try and get to 10 likes. We got 4 at the moment. Just smash that like button. Not too much to ask. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. So yeah, yeah, man. As I said, Amarim, Bruno, Dallow's probably gonna stay as well. Yeah, as I said, man, I'm just well and truly fed up of this nonsense now, man. And yeah, what to say, man. But we're gonna move on anyway. Other piece of news, obviously, Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Chelsea not activating the 25 million release clause and sending Sancho back for 5 mil. I'll be honest. Some of you have probably heard me already on this already. I'm hoping there's a glimmer of hope that Sancho actually comes back to the club. I know, obviously, the comments that Sancho has said, you know, freedom when Rashford went out on loan. For me, you know, as we know, football fans are fickle. You know, as long as someone's doing something in the shirt, these guys forget about things very quickly. I'm just hoping, because Sancho for this system is ideal, you know, as a left 10. And if you can get Sancho in to compete with Matthias Cunha, who can also play as a striker as well in that system, I think it'll be shrewd business for me, you know. Obviously, Sancho's on a lot of money as well. I'm hearing people say that he's on 300 grand a week. I don't think he's on 300 grand a week. I think he's probably on about 250. And then with bonuses, probably going up to 300 grand a week. But I'm just hoping United, I'm hoping he comes back for pre-season. Because again, Amarim hasn't had Sancho. So I'm hoping in pre-season, Amarim just thinks that he's someone that can be useful to the team, and gives him a chance. Because if we're having to deal with a bitter blow of Bruno staying and this manager, then I need some kind of positivity, because this is a player that I do rate highly in Jadon Sancho, but he's a symptom of what football's become now. You know, again, numbers. This is all people care about. And as DXR has said, Sancho should leave. The thing is, I do hear you, because this club is a killer of talent. I understand that. But I'm just looking at a quality player that's going to be in a system which should get the best out of his skill set. I'm just looking at it from a point of view of United need as much quality in a team as possible. And if you've got a player that's going to be coming back to your club, and again, if you can negotiate for him to if you are calling for someone, sorry, if you are if there's a player that if you can negotiate Sancho's contract to be reduced, then I think there's no reason why Sancho shouldn't be given another chance. You know, some people might say, you know, he's burnt his bridges with the fans, but again, these fans are fickle. So I just want Sancho to come back because he's a quality player, and I do believe, you know, he still has got talent. He still has got a career in the game. To think that Sancho's what 25, you know, this is a player that when he was at Dortmund, you know, was an England international, and now he can't even get into the squad. So for me, through no fault of his own, um, he um, he has he has yeah, he's not had the career that many predicted, you know, and I think that's a failure from Man United, you know, for not giving him the platform. You know, the number 7 shirt was a massive thing as well. Giving it to fucking Mason Mount, disgrace. But for me, Sancho does deserve, for me, a chance at United, regardless of what some of these fans may think. Because as I said, there's no way that I'm going to be watching Man United having the likes of Garnacho and Højlund in the front line, and Sancho is just going to be just be put to the side. You know, as I said, Sancho is going to Sancho is going to need to want to come back. You know, and I believe if he does want to come back, and you know, the club can come to some kind of compromise with him, you know, I think that will go a long way to cushioning the blow for me, you know. But we'll have to wait and see. But I just want to go back onto one of the comments. So I just seen a comment from Tabello. Sorry, Broderick says, "You really want Sancho back after everything you saw with Pogba? Do you hate the guy or something?" No, listen. I want Sancho back because he's a quality player. You know, because in this era of football now, there ain't too many quality players. This is the issue. And again, the way this fan base treated Pogba, I understand that. But if I'm Sancho, you know, if I'm honest, if I'm Sancho, then just based on that, I can see why he'd want to leave. But I'm looking at it from a fan point of view, and from someone that loves football and likes to see quality players at my club. So if Sancho can come back and get reintegrated back into this team, then I, for one, will be happy. You know, but if he does decide to leave, then again, it'll be down to him. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I just want to go back into one of the comments. So Tabello King says, "You guys are unbelievable. How are you calling someone who has carried and continues to carry us a disease?" And again, this is what I mean about some of these fans, you know. This absolute nonsense about Bruno Fernandes has carried Man United. Tabello King, what I will tell you, okay, what the hell has Bruno Fernandes carried Man United to? That's what I want to know, first and foremost. Tell me what he's carried United to. So what, he's carried United to what? 14th place in the league this season. He's carried United to what? A Europa League that they didn't win. Tell me what he's carried to, because you see all this crap that people keep talking about Bruno being carrying United to stuff. What trophies has Bruno carried United to? This is what I need to know. And the funny thing is, this crap that you're talking to, Bello, you're only getting this from pundits, from the likes of Gary Neville and a lot of these journalists. I implore people to not listen to these pundits and the journalists. They ain't got a clue what's going on. These guys don't watch Man United every day. So for you to be saying that he's carried United and continues to carry, this is what I'm trying to say, guys. And I know before Tabello even says it, what he's going to say. He's going to bring up numbers. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. These people don't give a shit about the actual football. They just care about numbers. Numbers are not carrying Man United anywhere. He's the captain of the club, and they've recorded their worst ever finish. And yet you're going to say he's carried United. You know? So let us know what you're saying. Because, again, a lot of this stuff don't make any sense to me, you know? No, that was never going to happen. Reports said that they reduced it to 80 million. Listen, if it's 80 million, if it's 70 million, you get rid of Bruno Fernandes. The guy's gonna turn 31 in a new season. Yeah, you're getting rid of a high earner for one as well. You know, and this bid is never gonna come back again. And there's no other clubs that are interested in Bruno Fernandes. So please tell me why it's a good idea to keep this player. To do what? This manager's going to shoehorn him into the team when we already know that he shouldn't be playing in his team in the first place. So please let us know why you think it's a good idea for this player to still be here. Absolute joke. So we don't need anyone young players. We need experience. Listen, let's cut the crap, man. Let's cut the crap. In a day, Man United have experience in their squad. Mazraoui's experienced. Matthias de Ligt is experienced. Casemiro's experienced. Who else you got in there? Cunha is experienced. Mbuemo be coming in. He's experienced. Amaz getting game time. Let's cut the crap. Let's cut the crap about experience. You had 100 million bid on the table for a 31-year-old, and United have failed. I don't want to hear anyone tell me about this nonsense about we need experience. Like, cut the crap, man. If you want to go on other channels and listen to that nonsense, then by all means. But you won't be getting that here. I'm not here for no nonsense today, because I cannot believe that this player isn't going. I cannot believe it. The XR says, I will get rid of Eriksen and Casemiro and Bruno. So for me, Eriksen's already gone on a free transfer. I will keep Casemiro because, again, Casemiro is the one winner in this whole squad. The guy's won multiple Champions Leagues and international honours. So if you want to talk about experience and a winning mentality, you keep players like that. You don't keep players like Bruno Fernandes, who's won hardly anything in his career. This is the point. This is the actual point. And you had a £100 million bid, as I said already, for Bruno Fernandes. So for me, Casemiro doesn't go. If you could reduce Casemiro's wage, that would be great. But Casemiro's got 1 year left. So the likelihood of him reducing his wage is low. But if you could have got Bruno's wages off and kept Casemiro for 1 more year, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Disgrace, this club, man, honestly. So the XR says, all that money invest with good stars. I agree. The money for Bruno could have meant you could have got possibly 2 midfielders, a striker, a 10. You know, and I know they're still linked with Mbuemo, as I said earlier, but tell me how they're going to get Mbuemo, because Brentford are not asking for anything less than 60 million. You know, and there's other clubs that are involved in the race for him as well. I know he obviously is looking like he wants to come to United, but I don't know what's going to happen with United now. I don't know who they're targeting. You know, Broderick says, we play Bruno ball. Sancho won't work here. And that is the fucking problem. This is the problem. When has Man United ever become a club where they play through one player and Bruno Fernandes at it? This is the problem. You just answered my question there, Broderick. We play Bruno ball. This is the huge issue. You got big Man United playing through Bruno Fernandes to play Bruno ball. There's no surprise why Sancho's not going to work here. Just like any other quality player won't work here. Because the club are hell-bent on trying to go with shit players. That is the problem. I've been saying this for absolute years. That there's a massive issue with this club. This club do not like football players. They like athletes. They like players that want to bleed for the club. Blood, sweat and tears, as I call them. That's all it's about. Who's getting their shorts dirty? You know? Who's making tackles? Like, this crap ain't football to me, you know? And this I'm trying to tell you. Man United don't like football players. They just like players that just appeal to their heart, you know, in terms of passion. Like, passion ain't going to win you anything. Quality wins you games, not passion. Like, this nonsense has to stop. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I can't believe it. Yeah, big up Killer, man. So these man don't know about wage structure and all. DXR, big up, man. Who doesn't know about wage structure? So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just frustrating, man. I'm pissed off, well and truly pissed off. Bruno wants to stay. Man United money doesn't matter to him. Yeah, well, it matters to me because that money could have got in more players, guys. This is the problem. This is the absolute problem. That money could have got in two midfielders, as I said. Could have got in a number 10 and a striker. But now I don't know what United's transfer business is going to be. They're saying that they're still interested in Brian Mbeumo, but who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, it's just frustrating, man. Oh, DXR, bro. I noticed you're not a mod anymore, but I'll make you a mod, man, after the channel, after the stream's ending, man. I know. Obviously, your account was hacked, so yeah, don't worry, bro, man. I'll add you back as a mod after the stream. Killer says, "Who do you think's gonna win tonight? Who's playing tonight, Killer?" No, no, that in tonight. Spain and France are playing on Thursday, and Germany and Portugal are playing tomorrow. But yeah, I'm gonna guys at 3 o'clock actually. If you guys wanna come back at 3 o'clock, I'm gonna do the squads of the Nations League teams and the potential lineups as well for the semi-finals. So yeah, make sure you guys come back at 3 o'clock. So we're gonna end this stream in about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll be back at 3 o'clock. Obviously, it's on the schedule anyway. So DXR says, like people like Trebello, cause like Bruno gotta go. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of these fans about, man. A lot of these fans think this is an absolutely good deal for United. That Bruno's staying. You're gonna find out very soon, man, why it's not. Because United, for me, I look at the fact that Bruno's staying now. Cunha's come in, so I'm not like, I say I don't count Cunha because Cunha was always coming in. But I'm talking about the signings that wasn't likely. And if I'm honest with you, I can possibly see two signings now coming at most. Two signings, which ain't going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. So, yeah, I ain't got a clue what to make of this, man. I'll be honest. So DXR says, I think squad depth is important, but everyone's sleeping on good squad breadth. Yeah, listen, man. As I said, I think obviously one game a week. You know, obviously you got some of the players that have gone already as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this now because yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, big up to Ennis there. So I heard PSG won 4 cups this season. Is that still stand as a quadruple? Yeah. Of course it does. Of course it does. And if you look at PSG as well, man, they've got what? What's his name? Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, Dembele, Barcola, Doué. Obviously Gonzalo Ramos, but he's not really a star. All those players are all playing in the Nations League for their countries. You know what I mean? You got Mendes, Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, João Neves, Gonzalo Ramos, all in the Portugal squad. And then you've got Fabian Ruiz in the Spain squad. Dembele, Barcola, Doué, all in the French squad. So, yeah, man, PSG, man, going from strength to strength. Let's be honest. Killer says, what you drinking? That was Bailey's, man. I like a Bailey's. So, yeah, little Bailey's, man. Guys, if you ever get a chance, man, and you shop in Aldi, look out for, if you like Bailey's, look out for a drink called Ballycastle. They do a lot of different flavours, man. Try and get your hands on one of them, man. Nice. Bro, I wanted to say, damn, PSG knows how to party. I was watching the party at the stadium. I didn't even see that, man. But yeah, Bailey's is alcohol, man. Yeah. If I was a footballer, I would definitely go play in France. Proper cool vibes. Haha. Yeah, listen. Yeah, listen, man. I've actually played in France before. Funny enough. I played in France, man, and it's a different kind of thing out there, man. Different kind of atmosphere out there. You know, when they love a player out there, they love a player. You know, so yeah, man, it's just madness. So Ennis there says, so what's going to happen to Sancho? Is he going to leave, or will Amorim integrate him into his system? Yeah, Ennis there, big up, man. I think, if I'm honest with you, everything points towards Sancho possibly being moved on. Oh my God. Guys, listen. I did not see that coming. You know what? You see Chelsea? Chelsea are not playing about. They are not playing about. Chelsea are in talks, guys, with Mike Maignan. They're in talks with Mike Maignan, French goalkeeper. I'm telling you this now. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, it's a title race for them three. Chelsea are not playing about. I did not see Mike Maignan at Chelsea. They're in talks with Mike Maignan of AC Milan. And if anyone knows, AC Milan looking like that their team's being split apart. Theo Hernandez is going to Al Hilal. Rafael Leao's being targeted by Bayern Munich, but he's being priced out of a move. I think AC Milan is saying 109 million, and Mike Maignan is in talks with Chelsea now. I cannot believe it. Oh, and Reinders is going Man City, guys. So I think it's safe to say City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. That's the top three I'm going with this season, because them three teams there, they're showing what intent is. They're showing how serious they are taking this season. All the while, United are keeping hold of a fucking player that should have been gone. And there's still no players at the club. Disgrace. So yeah, sorry, Ennis there. Going back to what you said, man. I think everything points towards Sancho coming back and in the club trying to find a buyer. But I'm hoping he does get integrated back into the system. Because as I said earlier, Man United cannot afford to get rid of players of quality. So Sancho, for me, is a quality player. And this system, for me, I reckon he could thrive in this system. And hopefully he does get another chance to show why the club invested the money into him, you know. Broderick says, cheeky midday Baileys. Yeah, bro, man, I needed it after the fucking news that I've heard today, man, because I'm absolutely fuming at the news I've seen today from that Bruno Fernandes is staying. So I needed something to cheer me up, man, because yeah, I was just for a good hour, you know, I was just fed up, man. So yeah. Killer says, do you smoke? No, I don't. I don't really drink, really. I only had like the occasional drink. But no, I don't smoke, man. Obviously, keep myself fit and healthy, man. You know, as you get older, it needs to be done. DXR says, what's it like? France. Yeah, France. Listen, France is, yeah, in terms of the standards of the fans, yeah, listen, man, them fans take things seriously, man. They don't, like, if they like a player, obviously, I'm talking like I played over there when I was I had a trial out there when I was about 19. I had a trial, funny enough, for Strasbourg, Yeah, funny enough. When I got released from Tottenham, so I went there for a trial. But yeah, no, it was good experience. But yeah, obviously I was only out there for about a month. But yeah, it's different out there, man, in terms of how they see football. You know, they keep a high standard in terms of in terms of like how they see football. They don't go with this nonsense about certain players and numbers, because these guys have seen real footballers. You know what I mean? So yeah, but it's a good vibe out there, man. It is. I'm not sure what it's like now, but when I was there, it was obviously I was quite younger there as well, so it was good, man. Big up to Nihal says, "Hey, hello, bro. Why do you don't read my chat? Am I banned?" Um, well, I haven't banned you. If my mods have banned you, it's probably something that you've done. So yeah, I haven't banned you, man. So I'm not too sure what's happened. Mods, if you let me know why Nihal's not on there, you know, but I reckon you've probably been banned for a reason if that's happened, you know. But yeah, I'm not too sure, man. Oh, compared to London, yeah, it's a different vibe out there, man. It is. It's as I said, I was only there for a month, and I didn't really see too much of the nightlife, to be honest with you, because obviously I was wrapped up in the football. But in terms of fanatics in football, then people love their football. So that's what I will say, man. Um, Maresca is a liability still. It's another Liverpool v City race, in my opinion. Yeah, listen, I hear you, but the fact they're bringing in Mike Maignan, which, because, you know, they're bringing back Petrovic as well from Strasbourg, and I know someone that's a obviously massive Chelsea fan, and he was saying to me that Petrovic is the number one when he comes back. It's not going to happen if Mike Maignan is there. Mike Maignan is a very good keeper. You know what I mean? He's obviously France's number one. They're in talks. And although I do think Maresca does, yeah, he's not he's not entirely convinced me, I would say. But Chelsea are showing intent. You know, they are showing massive intent to go with what they've got already, because they want a title, and they're showing the intent, because Mike Maignan is one of the best keepers in the world. And if they get him, you know, they're gonna be a problem next season. Newcastle aren't as serious as Chelsea and Liverpool. At the moment, they're not, but obviously they've got the PSR problems as well. So unless they go and invest in some players, obviously linked with Mbeumo, who knows, man? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. DXR says, bro, were you a winger or a striker? So I was a striker. I'm left-footed, and again, when I was coming through the system at Chelsea and Tottenham, you know, the problem with having a lot of these British coaches is that these British coaches, because obviously I was coming through when the era was 4-4-2. So it'd be left midfielder, right midfielder, two strikers, you know. I'm kind of giving away my age there as well. But sorry guys, 1 minute. Is my volume done? No, sorry. So yeah, so when I was coming through at Chelsea and Tottenham, obviously the era of the 4-4-2, you know, left midfielder, right midfielder, two strikers. So what a lot of these British coaches, and again, the fact that you got a lot of foreign managers now and foreign coaches, it's one of them things where, you know, they've brought a different kind of feel for the game. But when I was at those clubs there, you know, I was left-footed, and the first place they played me, because I had pace, you know, obviously I wasn't the archetype 6 foot either. What they used to do is play me on the wing, you know, because they looked at my profile, my height, etc., and just played me out on the wing, even though I was a striker, you know, and, you know, I was obviously technical as well, you know, scored goals, had pace, but physically I wasn't at the level. So they played me out in the wing, and obviously when you're younger, you know, you kind of like, you know, you're a bit immature in that sense, because you're thinking, you know, why am I not being given the chance to play as the striker? But yeah, as I said, like, yeah, when I was coming through, I was a striker, but these clubs more inclined played me on the wing as a left winger. But as I've got older, you know, I've gone back to playing as a 10 or playing as a striker. So my favourite position is a 10. You know, playing just off the striker or playing behind two strikers or anything. But yeah, playing just off the striker as a number 10 is my favourite position, you know. And I like drifting out to the right, obviously inverted as well, coming on my left foot as well. So yeah, I think in the era of 4-4-2, those positions weren't they weren't evident because as I said, it was 4-4-2. You're either a left winger or a right winger in that era of football. So yeah, but yeah, you were spot on, man. Left winger or striker. I think you've probably seen some of my my shorts, my short clips, and probably seeing things from there. But yeah, I was a striker. But again, they played me as a left winger at the academy. But yeah, transitioned to playing as like a number 10 now. So yeah. Killer says De Bruyne or Fabregas. Do you know what? You might be surprised, but this is quite an easy one for me. Says Fabregas. De Bruyne is a good player, but Fabregas was the guy was special, man. The guy could play as a false 9, as a 10, central midfield. You know what I mean? He was just a pure footballer. You know, a pure footballer that could play in any era. You know, and for me, Fabregas is going to be a top coach as well, man. He's managing Como at the moment, and I believe he's going to be a top coach, man. So watch out for Fabregas. Barbara Joseph says, fresh cut, Gav, looks sharp. Yeah, appreciate. I needed it, to be honest with you. I've been wearing my hat for a little while, man. And yeah, as I said, I was doing a stream as I was driving to get my hair cut, man, when I heard the Bruno Fernandes news break. So, but yeah, I needed it. Ennis there says, we bought Dorgo for the same price. Al Hilal want to pay for Theo Hernandez. Yes, his wages are high, but don't you think Manchester United should be looking at Theo plus his captain worth? Ennis there, big up yourself, man. Obviously, first time in the chat. And again, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you smash that like button as well. But two great questions, man, you're coming out with. Man United should 100% be in for Theo Hernandez. And I can't understand why United haven't even made an inquiry and they're just allowing Theo Hernandez to go to Al Hilal. You know, as you said, he's captain for AC Milan. He's experienced. He's France's first choice left back, and he's someone that United could do massively with in this team. You know, imagine if in this system you've got Theo Hernandez as a left wing back, and then you've got Dorgu backing it up. You know, to think that City are going to get 8 Nouri as well, and United haven't even inquired about Theo Hernandez. I don't know where this club is going, because I'm pretty sure Theo's going to be on big money at Al Hilal, but United could have at least offered Theo Hernandez, you know, 200 grand a week. Why not even test the waters? But this club ain't serious. The fact they're keeping Bruno Fernandes, you know, and there's no news about any players going, this club ain't serious. And as I said, man, but big up for your question. But yeah, 100%, man, Theo Hernandez should be at this club. 100%. Killer says, Gavuni. Do you know what's actually weird, Killer? I've actually played against Rooney as a youngster, man, when I was about 14 or 15. I played against Rooney as a youngster. And let me tell you now, Wayne Rooney was an absolute problem at that age, man. And he was destined to be a top footballer, man. Yeah, he was a very good player, man. At that age as well. So yeah. Gerrard or Fabregas? Again, no surprise to me, Fabregas. I don't think Fabregas gets the mentions, the accolades he deserves. You know, when people talk about the best midfielders to play in the Premiership, Fabregas' name's often overlooked. You know, but obviously I done a stream as well about the best midfielder of the Premier League era, and if you haven't watched it, make sure you have a look at my content. I don't want to spoil it for you. Obviously, it's in chapters as well, so give that a watch. But yeah, Fabregas is a top player, man. Top player, and he's going to be a top coach, man. So Gerrard was very good, you know. And when people talk about, you know, a carry job, there was times when Gerrard was doing a carry job. And as I said, he was a great player for Liverpool, you know, instrumental in them winning that Champions League as well when they came back against AC Milan. But for me, Fabregas, definitely. Fabregas was a great player, but overlooked at Barca though. And again, this just shows you how good Barcelona were, because Fabregas is a top player and he was overlooked because he had the likes of Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta ahead of him. You know what I mean? And you're looking at three of the best midfielders of all time. And Fabregas was still finding his way in that team, albeit as a false nine. Obviously, Messi, David Villa as well, two great players. So yeah, Gerrard or De Bruyne? Do you know what? That's an interesting one, because they're two players that you could kind of compare as well. That's tough. That's tough. I would probably say just De Bruyne, but there's nothing in it because Gerrard was class, but just De Bruyne I'd probably say. Do you think Amorim makes it the whole of next season? If I'm honest with you, I don't. I don't, because what's going to do it for Amorim is the first 5 games of the season. Because I believe if he doesn't get positive results in those first 5 games of the season, I reckon he'll be out quicker than he actually realizes. That's what I think, man. But guys, we're gonna wrap up anyway because I'm gonna be back in literally 20 minutes. Just 2 quick questions before we go. Yeah, Fabregas was mad underrated. Buckwheat says Amorim won't last until Christmas. 100% facts. Bruno don't fit this system. Man United midfield could be with Bruno. 100% Buckwheat. I can't disagree with anything you said there. Because the fact that that Bruno stayed, this man just stayed. I'm telling you now, the pressure's going to be on now, because if Man United don't get good results in the first 5 games of the season, the pressure is going to mount, because people are going to be saying they should have taken the money for Bruno. They should have got rid of the manager. So the pressure's now going to be on, as I said. But guys, listen up. Some great questions in there. Killer says Fabregas or Deco. Again, Deco, what a player, man. I can't choose, but I think I might say Fabregas. But Deco was class. Yeah, I do remember Wayne Rooney's street striker. I remember that 100%. Remember that. Ennis there says, what's your thoughts on Nico Paz? I haven't seen too much of Nico Paz. Obviously, I know he's formerly of Real Madrid. I think he's going elsewhere, I think, this season, though. But I haven't really seen too much of him, you know. And big up to Lit Talk as well. So earlier, he told me to check out a player called Lamine. I forget his name, actually. What's his name? Player from Monaco, midfielder from Monaco that I actually checked today. And to be honest with you, he looks very good. So I'm going to do a stream on him one time as part of my Next Gen 50. But he looks promising, man. And a midfielder that United should be looking at. But yeah, Nico Paz, I haven't really seen too much. Lamine Kamara, that's the one. Big up, Roderick. Yeah. I watched a couple of clips from him today. And I tell you now, he's a mix of Caicedo and what's his name? He's a mix of Caicedo and Tchouaméni from what I'm seeing. Obviously, Tchouaméni, formerly of Monaco as well. But from what I saw, he looks like he's got something special, you know. So I'll be doing a stream on him sometime as well. But guys, listen up. I'm going to be back literally in 15 minutes. As I said, Nations League coming up tomorrow and Thursday. You know, you got Spain versus France on Thursday. And then tomorrow you've got Germany versus Portugal. So we're going to go through the squads that have been picked. Obviously, there's a few absentees as well from the squads. And we're going to go through the potential lineups as well. And I want you guys to let me know who you think's who's gonna get through to the final and win the whole thing. So yeah, make sure you guys come back in literally 15 minutes. Guys, we've only got 7 likes on the channel at the moment. So let's at least get the 10 likes. Let's at least get the 10 likes. And as I said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. Just one question before we go. So Ennis there says Beleba. So Ennis there, if you've been watching my channel and my my previous content, you will know that Baleba is my top priority target for the midfield. He should be made the primary target to be playing in that midfield. More importantly, because he's left-footed and adds balance to that midfield. So yeah, make sure you check out my other content on Baleba as well. And as I said, the fact that Bruno's now staying, I think it's safe to say that we can rule out this Baleba signing now, which is why I'm pissed off even more. But yeah, make sure you give my content a watch, subscribe to my channel, smash that like button. And guys, I'm gonna catch you back literally in 15 minutes. Make sure you're back here. Take it easy.